Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Caron NY Gala co-chairs, Molly Helfet and Susan Fromm.
Hi, thank you. I'm Molly, and welcome to Caron's 2021 celebration in the flesh, which we've been longing for the past 18 months. First, I'd just like to begin by giving a big thanks to Lawston Harris and his trio, who played some beautiful music. And Lawston has been a great friend of Caron's for many years, like many of you have. So we're just thrilled that he and his trio could come and perform in person. And he will, this is a little plug, he will be opening at the Carlisle in October. Go ahead.
So we are still emerging from the effects of the pandemic that put a tremendous strain on all of us these past 18 months. And again, how incredibly wonderful it is to be able to be here together in person. However, thanks to the dedication and resilience of the Caron staff, the highest level of care continued for those struggling with addiction, and as importantly, for their families. We thank them for their valiant efforts, and we thank you for your generous support to help Caron continue their amazing work in the areas of education, prevention, research, and treatment. We'd also like to thank the New York Advisory Board and the Gala Committee for all of their incredible hard work and amazing commitment to making tonight's event happen. Thank you.
So we're hoping you're ready for a really exciting evening, and it's going to be fun, entertaining, and especially if you're a Beatles fan. And if you aren't a Beatles fan, you will be by the time you leave. And maybe a little emotional when we hear from our honorees, the wonderful Clark family, and Miles Rubin. Everybody's got a big entourage. Okay. And we're also going to give a fond farewell to our leader and tireless general who worked so hard at Caron for 26 years, Doug Tiemann. And a general in a good way. Last year, with the help of generous owners like you, Caron was able to give away $10 million in scholarship funds to addicts and their families needing help. It's a lot of money, I know. And a lot of that money went to families from the New York area, and I think we actually have some of our recipients who are graduates of the Caron program in our audience tonight, so we're just thrilled to have you here. So every bit of money we raise at the gala goes to fund those scholarships. And we want to keep this continually going. And it'll also go on to help support our new New York Caron Recovery Center, which just opened up. So we also have some wonderful auction items if you haven't taken a look, so peruse those. Just do not outbid $9.82, okay? Just give that one a miss. And then we're going to see Miles Rubin and Judy Gold, who are a new comedy act, and they're going to be doing our live auction. So please enjoy the evening, and please welcome Reverend Jack, who will give our invocation. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jack, and I'm an alcoholic. All right, you make me feel better. I'm so privileged to be here tonight. I was taught that an invocation is a cry for the holy. And so if you will join me in a spirit of prayer as we cry out for such, let us pray. Come, Spirit of thanksgiving, of remembrance, of recovery, of generosity. Come, Spirit of a God beyond understanding. Tonight we gather as best we are able in this 2021st year of the Common Era, opening our hearts in prayer. We pray in gratitude for leaders like Doug Tiemann, Zach Clark, and Brad Sorty, for donors and those who give of time and heart, for patients and families who place their trust in the Caron organization, and for the opportunity just to be here. For all of this, we offer our thanks and praise. We pray in appreciation for lives lost in the sacrifice of September 11th, 2001, now just shy of 20 years ago. For lives lost to COVID, including our dear friend Neil and so many more. And lives lost, too, in the ongoing pandemic of substance use disorder. May the memory of these persons and all our faithful departed be a blessing forever. We pray in resolve, asking for resilience as we face today's challenges and those ahead. May recovery continue to flourish. May Caron continue to grow. May healing come beyond even what today we can imagine. We pray too with our whole hearts, striving to be open to the way each one of us may lend a hand, to awaken new callings, to remember those which have been long on our hearts, to be people of generosity and service, of love and hope, and healing and renewal. May the time we spend this evening bear immense fruit in spite of our imperfection. May our giving and the work it empowers save and change lives. May the vision we have of a future in which recovery can be assured for all inspire us tonight and in every tomorrow, that we might be people of great service. Come, Spirit of thanksgiving, of remembrance, of recovery. Come, Spirit of generosity. Come, God beyond understanding. Come. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Caron Treatment Center's National Gifts Officer, Todd Whitmer.
The spirit of Neil Asher is with us tonight. Am I dreaming? Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. My name is Todd, and I'm a recovering alcoholic, drug addict, and drugstore burglar. Hi, everybody. I am so grateful to be here tonight, and thank you all for being here to celebrate family recovery and the generosity of spirit. We have at least 5 firsts tonight, so I'm going to tell you what they are. So don't clap after each one, because we got a lot to do tonight, so you can clap at the end, okay? So first of all, this is the first Cipriani event, large event, in 18 months. 18 months. We got the first one here. No clap, please. Hold your applause, because there's a whole bunch here. This is the first Buckley Hall event in the fall through the pandemic as well. So hold your applause. We're going to get to it. This is the first Caron New York Gala for our new CEO, Brad Sorty. Hold your applause. Hold your applause. This is the first Caron New York Gala for our new regional vice president, M. Lind, and Betsy Audrey, and Betsy Auray, and our real boss, Justa Kamaj. And this is the first with a dance floor. Did you notice this dance floor? Wow. Okay, so now we can applaud. We got the Fab Foe here tonight, man. It is going to be, when Zach and I talked about this about, I don't know how many months ago, he said the Clark family really likes to party, so we're going to party like it's 2019. We're breaking records tonight. The Clark family has 12 tables here tonight, so Woo! That's a record. And we're gonna break some other records tonight too. So we are at $1,100,000 raised so far. So that's a good thing to clap for. But we gotta get more than that. And we got a lot of different ways for you to give tonight. So hang in there. Oh, this is also the first virtual and live and Instagram gala that we've done. So anyway, all right. Whew. You know, we stand on the shoulders of so many, but I want to just go over 4 very quickly. And the first, of course, is our buddy Neil Asher. Neil Asher was the co-chair of these galas since 2013. And in those years, this gala raised almost $10 million for helping people get help. So Neil, we love you, we miss you, I know you're here, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And Jill Jordan, Neil's life partner, thank you so much for founding the Neil Asher Fund. And we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last year, and tonight we are launching a new part of the fund, an endowment fund, so that we can hire a certified music therapist. An endowment means perpetuity, in perpetuity, I love that word, perpetuity. A music therapist to really grow the program that Jack and the amazing Father Bill have started at Caron. So thank you, Jill, thank you, Michael, thank you, Monty from the Founders Board, thank you so much. We love you, Neil. Alan Arrow and Jim Abernathy brought Caron to New York with Doug Tiemann 25 years ago. So thank you, Kevin. Kevin's with us virtually. Thank you, Fran Arrow, and thank you, Fran Tiemann, for all that you've done to loan these guys to us. And you'll see more about them later. That's a little bit of help from our friends. And then Tom Moran. Wow. Tom Moran was our honoree in 2012. He was the CEO of Mutual of America. Thank you, Mutual of America, right over here. And that was Miles Rubin's. He chaired that gala. So thank you, Miles, and we're honoring Miles tonight. We got Music Matters here, man. We got 4 tables over there to honor our buddy, the amazing drummer and broker by day, drummer by night, Miles Rubin. So we're celebrating recovery. We're celebrating generosity of spirit. We're celebrating with joy, and all of us know that this substance use disorder also brings tragedy. Michael T. Williams died this past week. There are folks that are here honor their sons and daughters. Greg Grossman, who 13, 14 years ago. Comedy night is October 6th, by the way, so be there or be square. So Greg Grossman. Isaac Goldberg. Tonight we are adding another name, Nick Pagano. Nick, we lost Nick, I think about 5 weeks ago. And in his honor, the Release Recovery Foundation is partnering with Caron to raise money for the Nick Pagano Scholarship Fund, the LGBTQ Scholarship Fund, to raise funds for that community. So release. Thank you so much. Rich's father and mother are here at Caron, and Rich is going to be behind these drums. So he's going to tell us a bit about Nick a little bit later. So let's have a moment of silence for those that we've lost. I think that might be it. Of course, you recognize Doug Tiemann. You're going to hear more about him. Unfortunately, his mother died this week, and he is in Missouri for his mother's funeral tonight. But we have him on video, and right now I'm going to introduce my friend, my boss, the chairman of the Caron New York board. Oh, last year we honored John virtually. So now he's here in person. Let's honor him for real right now, because he was our honoree last year.
Good evening, everyone. If we had it in person last year, I was going to have 13 tables. And the reason we have 12 tables from the Clark family tonight is because they said they wouldn't come unless I gave up my chairmanship to their son, Zach. So starting January 1st, Zach will be the new chairman of Caron, New York. Good luck, Zach. As Todd mentioned, Doug can't join us tonight, which is very unfortunate, because the Alan A. Arrow Achievement Award is something special. A number of years ago, Todd Whitmer and I wanted to recognize Alan Arrow's tremendous contribution to Caron. Alan was instrumental in developing Caron, New York into a key part of the Caron National, let me read my notes, footprint. Okay. He served on the Caron, New York board for years, many as chairman, until he tricked me into becoming chairman. He also served on the Caron National Board, offering the sound advice on so many issues. So unbeknownst to Alan, the Achievement Award was named after him, and we made him the first recipient, much to his embarrassment. It was much fun seeing him so embarrassed when we gave him the award. Now to get serious. The award touches on dedication, tireless effort, wisdom, and leadership that have played an essential role in the development of Caron, New York, as well as Caron Treatment Centers organization. Doug Tiemann, this year's recipient, has been demonstrating those characteristics for the past 26 years. As you can see on the slides behind me, are the slides coming up? Doug Tiemann's achievements have been incredible. Almost $250 million raised for scholarships and capital improvements. The building of the state-of-the-art NEAG Medical Center in Warnersville, Pennsylvania. The current construction of the Keel Center in Florida, which will give Caron the premier rehabilitation facility in the state. The tens of thousands of patients and family members whose lives have been saved and certainly made better by Caron. And the latest endeavor, the development of the Fran and Doug Tiemann Research Center. The mission of Caron is simply stated, recovery for life. The execution of the mission is anything but simple. Doug Tiemann has dedicated the past 26 years at Caron to do whatever he could to help each and every patient achieve recovery for life. Of course, he didn't interact with every patient, but rather he made it possible for the Caron team of professionals to have all the support needed to treat each and every patient. On the subject of professionals, Doug has built a team second to none in the industry, a team that is committed to recovery for life. The success of the team is evident, all the patients they have helped in their journeys through the hell of addiction. Doug leaves Caron in very capable hands. Of particular note is his successor, I got through that, as President and Chief Executive Officer, Brad Sorte. Brad, a 10-year veteran at Caron, learned from the best and will ensure Caron remains a leader in helping those struggling with the disease of addiction. In thinking about what to say this evening about Doug, I was overwhelmed with all he has done. In addition to the ones I've already mentioned, we can add developing a complete and comprehensive medical staff with doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and nurses. working with institutions of higher learning, such as the University of Pennsylvania, in developing measurements of success, developing a number of specialty programs for doctors, lawyers, executives, etc., working with a number of insurance providers, convincing them that length of stay is critical on the path of recovery, providing the best care in the face of stiff competition from new, highly financed entrants into the rehabilitation space, guiding Caron through the very challenging COVID pandemic. The list goes on and on. Accomplishments, but Doug is not just a list of accomplishments. He's a man of integrity, selflessness, energy. He can wear anybody out. Empathy, open-mindedness, flexibility, a listener, consensus builder, and a man who respects others. I know I have left out many other characteristics. Oh, one more. He doesn't cheat at golf. So, therefore, on behalf of the Caron New York Board and the New York staff, it is my great honor to present Doug Tiemann with the Alan A. Arrow Achievement Award. Congratulations, Doug.
John, thank you so much for those kind and gracious comments. I was so looking forward to being with all of you tonight to celebrate recovery, to celebrate Caron Treatment Centers, and to celebrate Bea and Doug Clark as they receive Caron's highest award, the Richard J. Caron Award of Excellence. But while I'm not with you physically, I am with you through modern technology and in spirit. I'm 1,000 miles away in my hometown of Blackburn, Missouri, and I am celebrating tonight as well. Along with my family and friends and my community, I'm honoring my mother, who passed away this past week. The important part for all of us, whether we are together in person or through technology or in spirit, is to celebrate our connections. Father Bill said it best. Caron's mission is all about putting families back together. And you'll see that beautifully displayed in the Clark family video a little later this evening. And for all of us who have been touched by substance use disorder, connection and being together, whether in person, through technology, or in spirit, is what it's all about. So tonight, be connected and make memories. A special thanks to John Fitzsimons and the New York Board for presenting me with this wonderful award named after one of my heroes, Alan Arrow. I had the good fortune of first meeting Alan shortly after I became president and CEO of Caron in 1995. It was at a New York City alumni meeting. And from that very first meeting, it was clear to me that Alan was a leader. He was bright, insightful, balanced, solutions-oriented, and so passionate. That collective combination of characteristics would be put to good use at Caron. He would serve on the New York Board and ultimately be its chairman. He would be elected to the Caron Corporate Board and serve on its executive committee. Alan would oftentimes describe the New York office role as being like an airplane runway. When people need help, like a runway, they need a quick takeoff. And he said, and after treatment at Caron, they needed a soft landing to return to the New York community. Alan and I shared a similar vision, a world where people suffering from substance use disorder do not have to suffer and die anymore. At Caron, we refer to that world and that day as being our Land on the Moon mission. And I know that in the near future, we will be able to have a world where people do not have to die from this awful illness. That Land on the Moon vision will someday be declared by our new president, Brad Sortie. It is a real privilege for me to be able to introduce Caron's next president and CEO. I've had the privilege of seeing Brad grow into an incredible leader in our field. A decade ago, he started as a family therapist at Caron Renaissance and Ocean Drive. Within 5 years, he would succeed the legendary Sid Goodman as executive director and vice president of the Florida Continuum. In 2019, Brad would become executive vice president and chief growth and strategy officer of Caron. And in December of 2020, the Board of Trustees, after a national CEO search, would announce that Brad Sortie would become Caron's 7th president and CEO in July of 2021. It is a real privilege to introduce Caron's president and CEO, a real rock star in our industry, Brad Sortie.
Good evening. What a wonderful treat to get to be standing here in front of all of you. I know it's been said by a couple of the other speakers that have come up here tonight, but as we've had a chance to get back together over these months this summer, I'm still struck with gratitude every time we get a chance to share in fellowship, camaraderie, support, and celebration of all the gifts that recovery brings. It's been a strange and challenging 18 months for all of us around the world. But no city has been stricken by the past 18 months quite as bad as New York was just a little over a year and a half ago. But New York, like so many of us in recovery, is a story of resilience, perseverance, service, and brotherly love. New Yorkers were able to rise from some of the most challenging days of COVID-19, much like they did 20 years ago after the September 11th attacks. Even though our community here in New York has been able to recover from this pandemic, those who are struggling with drug and alcohol issues and those in recovery were particularly affected by the implications of what was needed to be done as a result of COVID-19. The economic displacement, the educational displacement, the uncertainty, the social isolation, all factors that are known and measurable risk factors for people with a substance use disorder or a mental health condition became very much a part of all of our daily lives. And as a result of that, us getting together here today to celebrate success stories like Zach and the Clark family and all they have been able to do in sharing their stories of recovery, in being an advocate for young people in recovery, are so much more important, as there are so many of us still outside of these walls who are struggling as a result of the challenges of the past year and a half. You need to look no further to know how devastating COVID-19 was on people who have a substance use disorder than to look at the data. And I'm going to share one quite stark data point with you, and then I'm going to move to a message of hope. And that data point is 93,000 lives. That's the number of lives that we lost last year due to drug overdoses in this country, and that's a 30% increase over the high watermark of the years past. A devastating loss of life that's almost hard to imagine in our minds. But there is hope. And one of the things that's extraordinarily important to me is to begin to change the narrative about how we talk about recovery, substance use disorders, and the implications for both of those things. And the next data point that I want to share with you is 75%. 75% of all people who at some point in their lives are afflicted with a substance use disorder will find recovery. In fact, the majority of those people will find recovery in 1 to 2 attempts, meaning that for many people, the gift of recovery and a life free from drugs and alcohol is only 1 shot away. Very different than what the average person on the street probably thinks those chances are. Now, in spite of that, there's a significant group of people where recovery is much harder to achieve. And that group has 10, 20, or 30 attempts before they get it, if they're lucky enough to do so. So what's the takeaway from this message? Because it's a really critical one. The first is we need to spread the messages of hope. That for many people, the gift of recovery and a life unbound by the chains of addiction is very much within reach. But for those where recovery is going to be a challenging goal for them to achieve, we need to continue to advance the science and understand why is it so hard for them to get well. How do we treat all of the issues that are afflicting them to ensure that they have that same chance of recovery? And when we really are able to do that, we will be able to bring into the world that other 25% of folks that have found that recovery is elusive. Because of the generosity, commitment, stewardship, and leadership of all of you and our other stakeholders around the country, we've been able to continue to move the Caron mission forward in spite of the challenges of the past year and a half. Over the past 2 years, after rolling out our access strategy, we've been helping more than 600 more people per year on our residential campus in Pennsylvania through our specialty insurance contracts, through the Blue Cross Blue Shield National Plan, and through Aetna. A tremendous increase in the number of people achieving that life-saving care with outcomes that show that 80% of them are sober at the end of a year. We've been able to move forward with our plan to bring our world-class medical capabilities to our Florida continuum. And despite the challenges with supply chains and labor shortages, we've been able to continue with our plan to open the Kiel Center in November of '22, on time, on budget, and just in time for this growing crisis in our midst. And most importantly, we are now moving into this new phase with the launching of the Fran and Doug Tiemann Research Center to be able to really start to advance the practice, the knowledge base, and the skill set of what we are doing to truly achieve that moon landing of a world where nobody needs to die from addiction anymore. I'm extraordinarily grateful to be standing up here in front of you as somebody whose life was changed dramatically by the Caron organization 15 years ago. This is a story of what the power of our organization is and the power of what all of you and your service is able to bring. There are so many stories in this room tonight, and I encourage anyone who is attending for the first time to take a moment and listen to a parent, a young adult, somebody who went to Caron back when it was chit-chat, and hear the story about how their life was changed by what we've been able to do. I'm grateful for John Fitzsimons and his leadership of the Caron New York region over the past decade, and I'm excited for Zach and the leadership that he's going to bring. And most importantly, I'm extraordinarily grateful for Doug's mentorship and his leadership. And while we all feel the collective absence of him not being here with us this evening, he's here with us in spirit, and I'm grateful that he will be with us year after year to celebrate this critical event. So with that, I want to thank everybody, and it's my honor and pleasure to introduce our next award presenter. One of Caron New York's great annual events over the past decade is Music Matters. Our next presenter is the lead guitarist in the band, as well as a client of the drummer who is going to be our next honoree. Please welcome Jeff Hahn to present the Thomas J. Moran Caron Music Award. Thank you.
Wow, great stuff. Thank you, Brad, and good evening, everybody. It's an honor to present the Thomas J. Moran Caron Music Award to a really good friend of mine, Miles Rubin. These words are on behalf of myself and Gary Levine, who was unable to make it tonight. Gary is a mutual friend and mutual musician. And these are our collective thoughts. Tom Moran, as I'm sure you know, was CEO of Mutual of America and a huge supporter of Caron and the world of music. Miles, like Tom, is generous with his time, generous with his money, and generous in spirit. Both have recognized the healing power of music, and both have used music in a profound way to help others. Gary and I have known Miles for a collective 60 years, and I only bring this up not to carbon date ourselves, but really just to point out that we are in a very good position to, and it's not in our position, but in a way to assess the suitability of this award for Miles, and I can assure you that it fits like a glove. My relationship with Miles is multifaceted. He is, first and foremost, a great friend of mine. Second, my fellow bandmate and drummer, which is fair because I'm his guitar player. And third, he's my financial advisor, and I can tell you that he rocks all three. As for Gary, he met Miles in their early Wall Street days, cutting their teeth together on the trading floor. There, they learned bad language, acceptable rude behavior, and of course, how to hang up on people. Buy, sell, no deal. All right, that didn't go over well. Like Tom, Miles' generous support and commitment to Caron is profound. Miles' years serving on the Caron board is commendable, but he, like Tom, is also effective. Boots on the ground, an effective fundraiser. Years ago, Miles created Music Matters, as you've heard, an annual event that Gary and I and others have had the privilege of performing at. Music Matters has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for Caron over the years while recognizing the vulnerability that musicians have to addiction from life on the road. If you've ever been to Music Matters and seen Miles play behind the drum kit, you have etched in your mind his beaming smile from ear to ear. It's really his happy place behind the drum kit. But finally, I would like you to know that Miles, personally, I find him to be the kindest, gentlest human being with the biggest heart that I know. He doesn't just light up a room, but rather makes each and every one of us glow in his presence. So I'm proud to present the Thomas J. Moran Caron Music Award to the greatly deserving Miles, I'll call him Smiles, Rubin. Where is he? There he is. Here you go, bud.
It's very shiny. That was awesome.
One of these.
Thanks. I like when you hold it.
Yeah, it's mine.
Yeah. Do you want to take it? I guess I'll leave it up here. Wow, this is great. Who is he talking about? It's very hard to actually sit there and hear somebody talk about you in such a way. Jeff is an awesome guitarist and very good friend, and I told him to say all of that. I guess it was a serendipitous meeting that I had. There's one. I met Alan Arrow, I think it was maybe 4th grade, Little League. I played baseball with his son, and years later, I find myself standing in front of you talking about Alan Arrow. Who would have thought, right? Alan asked me to join the board, which I did. The next thing I know, I'm on this stage. Now, typically, when I'm on stage, if you look, don't look at me, but look what's in back of me, that's where I typically am sitting. I'm not standing, I'm sitting, and I'm protected by an array of drums, stands, cymbals, and in case anybody ever gets past all that, I'm then given sticks to protect myself and keep them away from me. But this is much more vulnerable to be standing out front. I'm used to being behind that kit, where I'm very comfortable. I would get up on that stage and play music, and now I'm on the stage for another reason, which is to raise money and to raise awareness about the disease of addiction, which now, after all the people that have spoken before me, all the stuff that I wrote, I don't really need to say, because you all know it. The focus on awareness and raising money is one thing, but for the past 10 years, my bandmates in Music Matters have really helped me find myself standing up here and getting this thing. I couldn't have done it without them. I've been told we raised $300,000 by us playing rock and roll. People, just like everybody here, coming to see us play and chipping in some money to help get musicians who can't afford the treatment and the help that they need to get them off the juice. It's not an easy job, but it's definitely easy to play rock and roll. It's not easy to herd cats, which is what it's like putting together 3 bands for one night. That's hard, and they know it. So there we are, raising awareness, and I've seen Caron in action. I've got personal friends who have called me up and told me they've got problems in their family. And I felt honored that they would call me, that they were comfortable enough to call me, and then I could turn them on to people like Maria Hendrickson, or to Todd, or to Justa, or whoever it was at Caron that I needed to reach out to so they could get help, and help they got. And I've seen people get better. And that's what you're giving money for. That's what it's about, seeing people get better. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that shortly. And it's just very nice to know, it's comforting that there's a place to go, like Caron. Addiction is an equal opportunity disease. It doesn't care if you're big or small, old or young, rich or poor, black or white, clean or dirty. And nobody wants to have addiction. Nobody's asking for it. So my bands that I've been in over the years, and there have been quite a few, they have been committed, learning their instrument, learning their craft, going to rehearsal, paying for rehearsal space so that we can just go and play gigs and raise money, which we then give away. We never get paid. It's unbelievable. So I want to thank my bandmates. So I know I can't control these lights, but let's start off with Jeff Hahn. This is the Ibex Band. Jeff Hahn. Joe Raposo of the amazing Raposo family. And Gary Levine, thank you for those lights. Gary Levine, who can't be here tonight. I've been playing music with Gary for 34 years. I met him on the trading floor. That was quite a trip. I met Gary and he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I play the drums." He said, "You suck." Welcome to Wall Street. The Velcros, I got my Velcros are here. I've got Robert and Randy, Robert Birkenholtz, Randy Nielsen, the dynamic duo. I've got Vince Totoro, thunderous bass player. Did I leave anybody out? I got Tim Kane, awesome trumpet player. These guys have been with me doing this for years. And I also have Fred Zerilli, who I've been playing with Fred for 44 years. Signature move. I also want to thank my friends and family for coming. I want to thank Mark Bendel, who came up from Florida just to be here. I want to thank my partner, Dave Rosegarden. He's sort of like the Felix Unger and I'm the Oscar Madison of the team, but Dave's been an amazing business partner, and he's put up with me dealing with Caron for hours on end. And he's like, dude, get to work. It's like, I am working. I'm working for Caron. And finally, I want to just thank my kids. Charlie, a fellow drummer who's pound for pound way better than I'll ever be. My daughter Lizzie, who just quit her job at Rolling Stone. She's a music aficionado. And my other daughter Avery, who's up at school in Vermont, who can sing and play the ukulele and guitar, but won't do it in front of anybody, but she's awesome. And last, I want to thank my wife, who puts up with all of this. She is my rock. She is my roll. I love you. Thanks.
Please welcome B. Clark to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Lots of powerful messages here tonight, so I'm going to keep mine very short. I'll reiterate that it's wonderful to be here in person with everybody. It's been a while. My name is Beatrice Clark, or B, as many of you know me. Our family is honored to be receiving the Richard J. Caron Award of Excellence tonight, and we are humbled to be in the company of previous distinguished recipients. My son Zach is going to come out shortly and speak to you about his journey through his addiction and recovery. I am here tonight to tell you that Caron Treatment Center saved my son's life. 10 years ago, on August 30th, Doug and I drove Zach to Caron in Wernersville, Pennsylvania. My marriage and our family as a unit were falling apart daily. Zach had hit rock bottom, and we were desperate. I knew about Caron, had heard about their reputation. I made a phone call. There was a bed, there was availability, so we were ready to give rehab another chance. Zach stayed at Caron for 4.5 months, which seems like a really long time. But when he left, he was a changed man. His mind, his body, and his spirit and soul were transformed. 10 years ago, when we drove Zach to Caron, I could never have imagined that Zach would be the amazing man he is today, or that we would be here this evening celebrating all that he and our family are doing for the addiction community. We are truly blessed, and I thank you, Caron. And now Zach's going to come out and tell you his story.
Before she leaves, really quick, I'm going to buckle up a little bit here, but here's the deal. There's too many moms in this room, and I don't even get this opportunity, so I'm going to ask a favor, because we're the honorees, and I can tonight. I need everyone to stand up and cheer for my mother and all the other mothers out there that come on, you can do it. There's moms here who have lost kids. There's moms here who, have children in sobriety, and you're all fighting this fight together, and I just want my mother to get the proper round of applause that she really deserves. I love you. All right, we made it through that with no tears. I'm feeling good here. My name's Zach. I am an alcoholic. What's up, guys? They're giving me about 7 minutes, but I'm going to ask you to buckle up a little bit more, maybe just see where this thing goes here, because I was thinking about what I wanted to say tonight. And I say I'm an alcoholic, but you know what? I should not say that without mentioning that, damn it, I'm in recovery too, and I'm proud of that. You know, that I'm proud of that. Because it's truly given me a life beyond my wildest existence. And for me, when I showed up in rehab, I was convinced, right, that my life was over. And I was gonna sit in church basements for the next 30 years with a bunch of grumpy old men, and I was gonna have zero fun. And when I look around this room tonight, you gotta be kidding me. You know, 400 or 500 people in this room together right now, celebrating. We're gonna dance later. We got a dance floor. We're gonna party it up. I mean, the life that I've been given, there was no drink or drug that was ever gonna make me feel the way that I feel tonight. And that's a fact, right? That's a fact. So, and the thing I always think about, like whether I'm speaking to 3 people or 1 person or 500 people like tonight, I get nervous. And I get nervous because I care. And I get nervous because there might be 1 person in this room that I say one thing to that can completely change the trajectory of their existence. And I've had that experience. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But we're here tonight honoring my family, and we're going to get to that later. And I have permission to share openly from my family my story tonight because it's a powerful one, and it's one that I hope you can take a little bit of hope from. And if you want to fact check it, there's 5 of my closest buddies at that table over there that may or may not have indulged in some of that behavior with me, but they're all grown up now. Love you guys, my Haddonfield bros. Yeah, so I grew up in a town in South Jersey by the name of Haddonfield. You know, it was a small, kind of what you would refer to as waspy town, right? Parents would go to the country club on Friday night to have cocktails, and the kids would go out to the 15th hole to do shotguns and keg stands and run from the cops. And that's just the way that, you know, we knew what to do. And I can tell you this, I had my first drink on a Christmas Eve at like 13 or 14 years old. And I can tell you when I had that drink, I didn't have some overwhelming feeling of like, this is the greatest thing ever. I wasn't a super awkward kid, but what I can tell you is I loved it. You know, and for the next 15 years, I loved to party. And, you know, I don't shy away from the fact that there were absolutely some good times in there. But for me, the thing that I absolutely remember is that, and even in high school, right, there was this thing where kind of the older guys would go out and get you your beer on the weekend. And as soon as I had secured my 12-pack of Natural Light and my flask of Captain Morgan, I felt this sense of relief come. I hadn't even drank yet, but just when I knew I had the alcohol. And that would be a theme in my story throughout, and it would carry into drugs and everything else. So I can't get into all the gory details. Maybe you'll hear me speak another time. But I wanna kind of fast forward, and I wanna say that, you know, my family, right? Like my family didn't know what to do other than to love me. And I think that's the single most important reason why I'm here today. Because prior to me getting sober, there was no books that they were reading, there was no family education, there was no therapy. They just dug in and they loved me. And I had a loving home from a very early age, and that was started by my parents, who we'll hear from later, and carried out into my 5 brothers and sisters. But what happened for me is I went to college. I ended up, you know, marrying a girl that I went to college with. I graduate college. I think I'm gonna go play baseball, and that's gonna be my thing, or coach baseball. That doesn't go as planned. And what happens is I am diagnosed with a brain tumor, right? And I have this brain tumor, and I check into University of Pennsylvania Hospital, and I'm sitting there for like 14, 15, 16 days. I get this thing cut out of my head. And all I remember from that experience is I couldn't wait to get out of there so that I could go drink again. And I couldn't wait to get out of there until I could go get some more of that stuff that nurse was putting in my arm, the painkillers. And that's exactly what I did. And once I got out of that hospital bed and back into the real world, now I kind of had this front, right? Like I had this front where I was kind of hiding behind, because I had this surgery and people really couldn't tell me what to do. I had this thing that I could hide behind. And I kept ripping and running and ripping and running. And ultimately, I ended up in rehab for the first time. Like I said, I got married. I remember the night specifically. One of my friends from home had seen my ex-wife and my mother at a bar, and they went up to her and told her kind of what was going on with me. And I was sitting on my couch at the house, and my mom came through the doors, and she goes, "Zach, what are you doing? We know everything. We know what you're doing." And I said, "Oh, you do?" I said, "Okay, cool." And I jumped in my car, and I had seen a billboard on the side of the road for this place, Seabrook House, which is where I went to rehab the first time. And I drove myself that night to rehab and knocked on the door of the detox and tried to check myself in. It was probably their first drive-up customer and probably their last. And they didn't take me, but the next morning I woke up and they were able to admit me. And I went for 28 days, and I did, it didn't stick. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. So the big takeaway there is, like, it's okay to go to rehab and get high afterwards. I did it. And what happened over the next 8 months was truly spectacular, and spectacular in the worst way. I got out of that treatment center, and I learned about new drugs. I learned about things that I didn't know existed. I grew further and further apart from my family. I drove into Camden, New Jersey, and started buying drugs on the street. And I'm going to use some words in the next 10 seconds here that might be scaring, but I started shooting heroin. I started smoking crack. And these are words for me that we as a society need to start to normalize, because they're killing people. And if we keep shying away from them and treating them like they're these dirty words that they're just not, then we're going to keep people sick. And what happened to me is I went down to my dad's office in late August. I should say this. My family was at the Jersey Shore. And by this point, my mom and dad were spending a lot of time apart. My brother, had discovered that I may or may not have, been using drugs in the presence of his kids. My sister was distraught, and no one knew what to do. And there was a hurricane ripping up the coast, so I got in my car from our shore house in Avalon, New Jersey, and I drove up to Camden, New Jersey, because I knew if I didn't do that, then I might not be able to get high again. And then I would get sick, and the cycle would start all over again. And so what happened was I got in that car, and I drove up there, and I went on a run for the next 3 or 4 days that was pretty gnarly. And it took me to the streets, sleeping out there in Camden, New Jersey, doing things that I thought I would never do. And in a crazy sequence, in a crazy turn of events, my dad drove up from Avalon and went into his office. And I had subsequently stolen a check from him. And I went to the bank in Camden, New Jersey to try and cash that check. My dad was at the office. I went up to the bank teller, Rhonda Jackson, who was my angel, and I tried to cash this check. And she looked at me, and she knew something was wrong. And what happened in that next moment was my dad picked up a phone call from Rhonda Jackson while in his office on a Saturday morning from an unknown number when he doesn't work on Saturdays, and he sure as heck doesn't answer unknown calls. And it was her on the other line, and she said, "You better get down here because your son is in a bad way." And he rushed down there, and about 30 minutes later, he popped through the doors of that bank, and he put his arm on my arm, and he said, "Son, we're going home." And that was the single most important moment in my life, because at that moment, something lifted. And the next day I was driving out to Caron. And the next day my journey to recovery started. But it wasn't just my journey that started, it was my family's journey. Because this is a family illness, right? And what I did for those 15 years while I was drinking and doing drugs and running around like an ass was I got my family really, really sick. But my family chose to stick with me. They chose to keep going. They chose to support me, and they chose to never give up. And they gave me the space and time to go to Caron for 4 or 5 months, get well, and then plan my next steps, which in another divine moment, I end up taking an aftercare recommendation to come to New York City, which if you would have asked my dad 10 years ago, he said, son, you're never moving to New York City. It smells bad, the people are mean, it's expensive, and I don't like their sports teams. And like I like to do, I went the opposite direction and I moved up here. And what happened was those people at Caron taught me to love me until I could learn to love myself, or love me until I could learn to love myself. And it has been the most beautiful 10 years of my life. I took this piece of paper from a counselor at Caron with some suggestions on what to do. And I came up here to New York City, and I did those things. And many of those things I still do today, because what I was able to build in that early foundation is still critical to my recovery. And I found a community of people that I could be honest with, and I just chopped wood and carried water. I learned that I'm a pretty selfish guy, and when I think of other people, that selfishness goes away. And ultimately, about a year into that, I started to, work on my relationships with my family. And today, they've never been stronger. And I'm looking at them now, and I'm looking at Allison and Dan, who are married into this thing, and I bet they didn't know what they were signing up for when they chose to marry my brother and my sister. But this thing is real. This thing is killing people. You're going to see my family be honored later. I get a lot of questions these days as to what to do, how to help people. And at the end of the day, this thing isn't cancer. This thing isn't heart disease. There is no playbook. But the thing that I can tell you continues to help people in the land of recovery is just love. Love, 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 and more love. And I received that from my family. And 10 years later, I just celebrated 10 years. I look at each and every one of them. Thank you. I look at each and every one of them, and I'm so happy and I'm so thrilled to know that they are such a big part of my life. And they mentioned earlier that the Clark clan has 12 tables here tonight, and that's just a testament to what this thing does. It brings people together, whether you're sober or you are not. It is a movement, and it is open to everyone. So I know I probably went a little bit over here. I hope the message was clear. Recovery is the best game in town. My life today is beyond my wildest dreams. I'm a business owner with my best friend in life, Justin Gerlin, who a lot of you know. We help people on a daily basis, We just started a non-for-profit. I live in New York City. I'm healthy. A bunch of us hooligans are running the marathon in a couple months, and it's just it's a next level thing. So I hope that I helped someone here tonight. If I did not, I know that my parents' story and our family story is going to help people here in a couple minutes, so thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome comedian, actress, and author Judy Gold, and Gala Steering Committee member and one of tonight's honorees, Miles Rubin.
Thank you so much. Was that amazing or was that amazing?
was awesome.
Oh, Miles,
That was awesome.
That was so awesome. Thank you for that, Zach. This reminds me of all the Jewish events I do where they talk about 6 million Jews dying in the Holocaust and then introduce the comedian. So we're a team. We're a team.
Doing my best.
Tonight, Miles and I are wearing scarves, also known as talit, for the Rosh Hashanah. Okay, I'm bombing. All right, anyway, I do wish all the Jews here a happy and healthy New Year. It's been quite a year. Miles, I'm supposed to actually do this.
Do that and then
I'll do that and then I'll do my jokes. We're going to give a lot of money tonight to support Caron scholarships, right?
Correct.
And as Miles and I were discussing, this is the only good Caron we have right now. Is this Caron? All right, I got a little laugh on that. Miles, mazel tov on your award. I am honored to share a stage with you.
Likewise.
Yeah, thank you. You won't be after I finish my jokes. I did do my DNA. I had my DNA done recently. Anyone else do their DNA? You did? What'd you find out? You're Ashkenazi. Did you really need to do the DNA to... I love that people are now finding out that they're part this and part that. There's so many people that are like, oh, Judy, I'm 5% Jewish. And I'm like, oh, and you're happy about it? You hate us, okay? And now everyone's happy. I did it. I am 99.8% Ashkenazi Jew. My partner, Elisa, is 99.9% Ashkenazi Jew. They took off 0.01% for rhinoplasty. So, okay, it's a tough crowd tonight. I'm so happy we're all in person. Remember we did this on Zoom last year?
Yeah, we did this on Zoom last year.
Yeah.
I think I got a phone call. It was my scarf phone. No, yeah,
Right.
people were calling in with money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're all in person. I mean, it's amazing that we're all here in person. It has been, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but they're doing a new Broadway musical about Zoom. It's coming out in 2022. It's called Frozen. So you got, all right, I got to laugh on that. That was good. Good. Thank you. But my favorite Zoom story of the year, I don't know, my favorite is the Jeffrey Toobin story. Yes, Jeffrey Toobin was caught, as you know, masturbating on Zoom during a New Yorker magazine staff meeting. And the thing I find most fascinating is the fact that Jeffrey Toobin could become aroused during a New Yorker magazine staff meeting. So, all right.
Judy,
Yes.
it takes all kinds.
It does.
You
It
never
really
know
does.
what gets
I
somebody
mean,
going.
Have you seen the writers at the New Yorker magazine? They're hot. They're very hot.
Very.
And when I read Annals of Russia, I mean, I can't, it's horrible, you know? Talk of the town, it makes me crazy, you know? Shouts and murmurs, woo! But, yeah, it's nice to be out. I'm playing tennis now. You do a lot, you swim.
Yeah, I swim. I stay in my lane, though. I don't go near anybody.
Right.
Hopefully they can't keep up with me either.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, that gets an applause break. But my jokes that I've worked on for about, I don't know, a couple years, nothing, just
I like
stares.
them. I think they're good.
Yeah, but a lot of people I did this. I bought at-home exercise equipment because of the pandemic. Anyone else? Yeah. I have a friend who bought the mirror. Have you heard of this? What is the last thing I want to look at when I am working out? Seriously. That is like, you know, eating a huge bowl of macaroni and cheese while you're standing on a scale, you know? I did get a Peloton. Have you done the Peloton?
I can't afford that. It's wait.
Oh, yeah, I know. You're very impoverished. I did. It's really bad for him and the kids. Did anyone get a Peloton? Do you use it? Huh? It's a hanger, yeah. I know what a clothes, I know you meant clothes hanger. I didn't think you meant an airport. I got Miles to laugh, thank you.
I think you're very funny.
Thank you. I do love the Peloton. I cannot take the instructors. They're all perfect. They all have accents. It's like, oh, here we go. Who are you today? You are whoever you want to be. We're going to climb 75,000 mountains at a cadence of 5 billion. I'm like, I can't breathe. I have tachycardia. I need an instructor who's more my, like, hey, well, you got on the bike. Well, that's a good start. What are you wearing? Oh my God, how much weight have you gained? You're bloated. Oh my God, just move your legs. I can't do this class. All right, I'm warming them up.
You're warming up?
All right. I am thrilled to be here. I had to do Zoom shows, all comedy shows. And as you know, at the beginning of Zoom, no one knew what they were doing. So when I was doing stand-up comedy, and no one was muted at the very beginning. And I had a lot of Jews who were, part of I know it's shocking, who would come. Well, they wouldn't have to leave, so I had even more Jews because they didn't have to leave their house. And I literally, all my shows at the beginning of the pandemic, I would do my jokes and then I would hear, Arthur, shut the window! There's a draft! Sylvia, I think the oven's on. I mean, this was the entire time. So I'm so thrilled to be here, and I love Caron. I love everything you do. I've read all about you. The people I have dealt with are all incredibly amazing. Thank you for making this world a better place. So, you like that?
Beautiful segue.
I'm falling in love. I am a member of the LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ umlaut, pi sign, cosine, treble clef, eighth note community. But I am falling in love with Miles right now. So. Oh, you're so cute. Okay. Those of you who have registered for mobile bidding, there's some pretty amazing items. You can bid through the donation link straight from your phone at the same place you've been bidding on auction items, including, who wrote this? I have a book that I wrote, and okay, that'll be raising a lot of money, I can see. If you haven't registered, it's not too late. Scan the QR code that is on the sign on your table. That'll take you right to the site. Pull out your escort card. That's another thing where the QR code has been printed for your convenience. So these are all ways to help Caron raise the money that they need.
So if you prefer, you can do it the old-fashioned way. Just raise your paddle and say, I'd like to give somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 grand, 200 grand, whatever you want to get started with. And in memory of our great friend Neil Lasher, our paddles have a white scarf, which was his signature gala look.
Miles, well, I don't have to do the next line, as you see. Miles and I are supporting scarves.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay. So, by the way, if you did want to bid on Ibex, we are an auction item. The band will come and rock your party. So don't let that one get away from you. So last year, we were 100% virtual. We made over $122,000 while I was wearing like this shirt, this tie, and a pair of underwear. Because that's what you did at home, right?
You showed me, and you didn't.
No,
All right, sorry.
It was a different thing.
And he was reading the New Yorker magazine while he was.
Anyway, that wasn't too shabby for what was a pretty shabby year. However, in 2019, we raised over $300,000, 300 grand, and I feel we're going to break that record.
Oh,
right
we're definitely going to do that.
We are. You can allocate your gift to any of the categories you see on the screen. I guess there's no screen up there, and. All are very deserving of your support and will help Caron in so many ways, as Zach sort of pointed out.
Zach's giving me that look, but no, I'm not available.
There it is.
Oh, I thought that was the look, but it's actually...
It's the screen.
Yeah. Through my amazing telepathy, I am happy to share that we have a very generous donor who has pledged $25,000 to get the ball rolling.
Oh!
That's $25,000. Remember, like on the pyramid when they would set when we were kids, and it was like 25,000, and you thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to build a mansion for $25,000." Yeah. Your donations can support a variety of Caron's programs. You can support Caron with a greatest needed gift, or you can support the Neil Lasher Music Fund and bring music and music therapy to those in treatment in Neil's memory.
You can also support Caron scholarship funds. We've got 2 on the list, one created in memory of Jim Abernathy and another in memory of Nick Pagano, focused on the, go ahead, LGBTQ.
On the LGBTQ or STUVWXYZ,
That's
umlaut,
good.
pi
That's good.
sign, cosine,
And
treble clef.
community that you will hear more about this evening, or you can allocate your money to the Florida Keel Center or the Fran and Doug Tiemann Research Center in honor of my fellow honoree, Doug. The important thing to do is support.
So our first level is $25,000, as we had mentioned. Do we have another $25,000 donor in the room? Please raise your paddle. Or hand or paddle.
Do we see $25,000 anywhere in the room?
$25,000.
Is there anybody that'll put up 25 grand to send somebody for treatment? Okay, well, we already got the 25 in the bag.
Thank God.
Thank God for that, right?
G-G. Okay. Don't think you're getting away with this, okay?
Don't forget, last year, Caron gave over $10 million away for treatment for people that just couldn't afford it. $10 million.
Our next level is $10,000. We can support men like Zach, whose story we just heard, and I mean, if you didn't feel anything, then there's something wrong with you. So, $10,000. Please register your bids or raise your paddles. $10,000.
Anybody come up with $10,000?
Do we have any $10,000
Do we have
bids?
one person in the room?
Where? Oh, I thought you said there were. Okay, really? You know how much money you saved over this pandemic? I wrote it down, okay? No Ubers, okay? No salons. That was $10,000. No travel. No one bought clothes. No one went to restaurants. You saved it, right?
I did.
So can we please donate? Tzedakah is the most wonderful thing. $10,000 to Caron.
I got a paddle back
there. Oh, we got
there.
one over there. Thank you.
$10,000. Thank you.
Thank you.
See how easy that was?
And we have one over there.
I see another paddle over here. There we go. $10,000 twice. Do we have $10,000 a third time?
$10,000.
All right. Looks like we got the tens out of the way.
All right.
$7,500. Do we have $7,500?
$7,500.
There we go. I got a paddle right there.
Thank
that looks
you.
like my table. Wait a minute. That looks like my kid. Okay. See how easy that was?
Right.
$7,500. Anybody else? $7,500? Am I the only one?
Right there. 63
there
right
we go.
over there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
75. You know everyone that's donating?
Sitting it right there.
All right. 75. No one on this room, on this side of the room. So who's going to be the first one on this side of the room? Great. 7,500. Do we see 7,500?
Sit. I think we take it down to 5.
You think we should? Okay.
It's pretty quiet.
I know. It's pretty quiet tonight. We're going to go to $5,000. $5,000. Okay. Here we go.
I got a paddle back there. We got one right here.
We got one right over there.
One over here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We have one over there. 98.
5 seems to be the right number.
5,000. That's your cable bill. Come on. Do people still have cable? A lot of people do.
Yeah, some of them do. How about $4,000?
$4,000.
There's $4,000 right there. Thank you so much.
That's $1,000 every 3 months. $4,000.
$4,000 going once. $4,000 going twice. How about $3,000?
$3,000.
I got a paddle in the back right there. Thank you so much.
3,000. 391.
You are helping
right
people.
Over
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you, sir.
$3,000. $3,000. for Caron.
Maybe if I stood on this side of the room.
Yeah, let's try that.
That's better. Oh, yeah, clearly. Okay, do we have 2,500?
25, there we go,
I got 2,500.
154.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your generosity.
$2,500. $2,500. That is like a
All right,
garage.
we got another one right here.
Isn't that like a garage
Right here.
payment
Thank
in
you
New
so
York?
much. Oh,
2,500.
That guy plays
Right
amazing
there,
piano, that guy. I know it.
$2,500.
Thank you so much, Dave.
That is less than your mortgage payment.
$2,500.
$2,500 to help these kids.
Maybe if I stood over here.
Yeah, that's working.
Getting close to off the stage,
Yeah, I
Judy.
like that. $2,500.
All right, we're down to $1,000. Let me see some hands for $1,000. There we go. I
here
got
we
one
go.
right
Come
here. I
on.
got one right here. I got one right here. I got one right here. We're going to need a lot of people running around this room. Thank you. That is awesome.
$1,000.
Who else do I have back in this direction for $1,000? Did I see a paddle? Did I see a paddle? I got one right back here. Thank you so much, 478. Thank
Right
you
over
so
there,
much. Right
311,
here.
12.
311. Thank
54,
you so much.
53, 57, 81. $1,000.
That is awesome.
$1,000.
I see a paddle moving
There's
over
another
there.
one, 265.
There it is. Is that 493? Thank you so much.
491. 2 something.
You are going to be helping.
$1,000.
You're helping people get better that just can't do it without your help. It's really powerful, and we are unbelievably grateful and thankful for your generosity. And every dollar makes an impact. It truly does. So at this point, a $500 gift. That's if we can just do $500, we could really make up a lot of
$199
room.
right over here.
I got another paddle.
That is getting your roots done. A mani-pedi. Let's go, people. Roots
my
and
niece.
mani-pedi without the tip. Let's go. $500. Right there.
Whoa, another one.
158,
That's my buddy Mark.
157.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's go.
Thank you, Jamie.
$500. $500.
All right, I think. Yeah, we got another one right here. I gave up too early. 217.
308.
Okay.
There's another one right here.
Right here, there
88.
it is. 86, 88. I got to get my new glasses. And Todd, are there any cards on the table where we can sign? So there's some cards on the table. If you want to give any amount, there's a card on the table.
$250. Do we have any $250?
Fill it out, put it right there on the table.
There's
there you go.
250.
271 for 250.
250.
250.
250 back there.
Oh, we got some 250s in the back there. Michael, you are an animal.
That's what an Uber is now. Okay? Uber has.
Who is that? Tomas, you are an animal.
Right there. Right over here. 250.
Michael, my tables
Michael.
are lighting it up.
I love your
Come
table.
on, Reuben tables! I think we're good.
Hey, we got another one back there.
We got another one
250.
back there. This is your last chance to wave a paddle. We're walking off. Judy.
Right there. 210.
210. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity.
Right there. 189.
All right, Judy.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
This has been.
I think we're done.
I'm not going to say fun.
Okay.
Kind of fun. Being with you was amazing. Please, 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 please donate. It really is so important, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It was great. That was great. That was great. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Miles. But thank all of you for all your generosity. I know we're about $1.3 million now, so there's still time to hit that magic number of 1.5. But the magic words right now are bon appetit. Thank you all. And the amazing Cipriani crew. Let's hear it for them.
Throughout his 26-year career as Caron's president and CEO, Doug has always kept my parents' vision of lasting hope and recovery at the heart of every decision. Doug was determined to do whatever it took to continue my parents' vision of serving as many people as possible who struggle with the disease of addiction. Doug poured his heart and soul into his work and embodied the legacy of my father, Dick Caron. He nurtured Caron over the past 26 years, made it what it is today, the largest nonprofit treatment center in the country that provides world-class treatment to thousands of people each and every year. Doug has been an incredible mentor by engaging with community leaders and partnering with many important healthcare, educational, and human service organizations. I invite you to listen to inspiring messages from friends of Caron and of Doug.
We at Independence Health Group, Independence Blue Cross, believed that we had an opportunity not only to focus more on behavioral health, on mental health, on addiction types of efforts, but also to find a way to coordinate it more closely with the physical well-being of every individual. It just so happened that my professional life and my personal life collided with my oldest son seeking recovery and my second son seeking recovery services here at Caron. And we realized that this was an opportunity for us to really put our money where our mouths were. Throughout the country, the Blues are leading the effort to contract with high quality inpatient recovery programs. That started with the Independence-Caron relationship.
When we recognized that our own son was in trouble with the disease of addiction, we turned to Caron. And my son Harry went to Caron in 2012 and is now 8.5 years in long-term recovery. I am certain and confident that the extraordinary clinical help and moral support and mental support, not just for Harry, but for our entire family, was a part of the gift of Caron. And that's all under the leadership of Doug Tiemann. So I'm just proud to be your friend. Congratulations on the extraordinary work you have done, saving lives, restoring families, and restoring hope.
We have been deeply impressed by the quality of the work that Caron does through its various facilities, and particularly the ones that have impacted our family. I get exposed to great CEOs all the time, and Doug is really amongst the very best. He and I have created a very close working relationship. During the pandemic, we talked every 2 or 3 months just to catch up and see what's going on, share ideas about leadership and things that we've observed that could be helpful to our respective organizations. Doug, congratulations. You have hit the ball out of the park. You've done a remarkable job assembling an extraordinary team at Caron. You've made a huge impact on society with Caron's mission and the execution of that mission on a daily basis. So thank you very much for what you've done, and congratulations on a remarkable career.
I wish I were there with you to celebrate and to congratulate Doug Tiemann for his 26-year career as Caron's president and CEO, and for the impact he has had on the advancement of addiction medicine, and also in helping reduce the stigma and facilitating access to processes for recovery. Doug, congratulations and best wishes for your retirement.
Hi, Doug. Ken Langone. I recently learned of your retirement from Caron. You've got an incredible record to rest on and ride on. Congratulations for all you did, and all good health and good luck and lots of fun in your retirement years. Nice working with you.
I was just blessed to walk through the doors and to be welcomed and helped and healed. Caron is a fabulous place. Doug Tiemann has done wonderful work with the foundation over so many years. They are superb, A1, the best in the country.
Open the door and come on in. like to be as good a friend to you as you are to me.
on a journey to start a very special program for people in recovery. Release Recovery is a full-service recovery organization that is really teaching the values of recovery, helping people to understand that it's not about being sober, it's about changing your life, it's about growing your life, it's about having a life. We have 3 transitional living homes. One is in Westchester County, 2 are in Manhattan, 2 of them are for men, 1 of them is for women. We have a 90-day minimum program with an emphasis on transition, focusing on getting life back on track.
We actually got a call from Todd Whitmer, who works for Caron, and said, you know, there's this property up in Westchester, you guys got to go check it out. And we walked into what is now Release Recovery, and it was cold, and you could see your breath, and the place was run down, and Justin and I kind of looked at each other and like, we're home. We can make this place work. The number of lives that have come through this house and families that have been helped as a result of that phone call is nothing short of miraculous.
We met, like a lot of us do, through recovery. We've gone out to thousands upon thousands of dinners, movies, concerts, events. We've never split anything down the middle. Either he pays or I pay. If there was some way to do a forensic accounting of all of those events, I would say we're within pennies of each other. And it just set the tone for our partnership.
I think it was a spiritual, we just knew, we just knew. We both have this deep passion for helping others. Like, that was at the core of our friendship from the second we met.
The reason why we're successful with each other is that we're 100% zero. I focus on 100% of what I can give to a situation. He focuses on 100% of what he can give to a situation. And the results are really powerful.
The common lie that is told to those who are trying to recover is that your life's over, you're not gonna have fun anymore. Because we actually think that we were having fun while we were getting high and drinking. Removing the drugs and the alcohol, that is just the tip of the iceberg. But it's really showing that this thing is a lifestyle. I've gotten to do things in recovery that I never would have gotten to do if I was still drinking and drugging. So allowing people to see that this is not a punishment, man. This is truly an existence beyond my wildest dreams. So we believe in the lifestyle, we believe in our clothes, we wear our logo with pride. It's kind of that attitude of like, take pride in everything that you do.
Life is not boring when you get sober. It's really, truly just beginning.
Like most things in our relationship, we found this commonality around music. And very, very early on, when I had moved to New York City, Justin and I became kind of fast friends. And he started sending me a song every morning as part of like our morning meditation. The song Release by Pearl Jam was one of the first ones he sent, and it just became our anthem.
So Release is actually mentioned in the big book several times, but truly it's from the song. The lyrics of the song are about riding the wave. I'll ride the wave where it takes me, which speaks to recovery. It just clicked. And so once it came to fruition and once it was there, it really couldn't be ignored.
We had a little argument early on because I was like, I don't know about this name.
You doubted it.
Yeah,
There was a little doubt.
I did, but I was wrong. That's why partnerships work.
Don't cut that.
You know, music is magic, and getting the people together, enjoying music, but also supporting a great cause. Wow, what can be better?
More people that are dying from alcoholism than they are from heart disease. People don't realize it's a real disease. It's treated with a stigma, and it shouldn't be.
There are so many people out there hurting and lost and have nowhere to go. This, the Caron Foundation, is the most reputable charity that I've worked for, and I would do it for nothing forever. I think it's a great thing.
The most important thing is to raise awareness of this disease and to let people know that it's a treatable disease and people do get well.
We've learned so much about what Caron does, and we have kids, and I think for me that was the most compelling thing, is just learning about how important it is to become aware for the kids early on.
The facts are that it's kids who are in Caron. It makes me more aware for my kids. Tonight we had different people that were coming up and joining us, and they're all in this one big community that we call music.
I've been involved with Caron for the last 20 years, working in the inpatient programs as a director, and then working in Philadelphia, and now I'm here in New York.
I give my heart and my soul every night when I play.
Miles Rubin, I mean, this is really his idea, his spirit was behind all of this, and you know, it's great to
Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeballs, he won holy roller. He got hair down to his knees. One thing I can tell you is you got to be free. Come together right now. Over me.
Got change, want a lot more, sent shockwaves to the top floor. Saw the cops came, saw the moms pray, saw the whole world in an uproar. Saw the warplanes, smoke flames, hill fighters in the mosh form. Saw the kids cry, what's the press lie? What's the answer? I'm not sure. Kinda disorderly, loving me more than me. What you want, war, peace, power, morally? Gaining authority, it's the means of my sword on me. Walk with the Lord on me, angels all over me. I spit to see you can kill me or come with me. Life is a thought, death is like comedy. Black and I love it, I give no apologies. Ooh, please do not shatter me. Ooh, building it power on me, carry you smile at me. Don't you look down on me, know where they march. Know you can count on me, living autonomy. Love is like alchemy, demons they battle me, racing the cavalry. Hate taking out of me, I'm who I gotta be. Tell me you dead to me, haters surrounding me, right if you down for me, hate in the clouds. I find it high in me, pray and be found. Come with me now, away from the lights, away from the cloud. Tell me your price, my soul ain't for sale. My soul ain't for sale.
She's so the long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Lead me to your door. Many times I've been alone, and many times I've cried. Anyway, you'll never know the many ways I've tried, and still they lead me back to the long winding road.
Let it go. Moving on.
The long winding road.
Come together.
Still they lead me back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Todd Whitmer and Release co-founder Justin Gerland.
We're back. The amazing Justin Gerland from Release, Release, Release.
Oh, wow. I had to write this down because I'm liable to really go on all night about the Clark family. So briefly, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be here presenting, helping present this award to my second family, the Clarks. One of the most beautiful aspects of recovery is the ripple effect it produces. As many of us have heard over and over and over, recovery begins when one alcoholic talks with another alcoholic, sharing their experience, strength, and hope. The Clark family started their journey knowing nothing about recovery. All they wanted was for Zach to live. Through Caron, the message of recovery was spread to Zach. From Zach, it spread to his family, and from his family, it spread to families far and wide. The ripple effect from Zach and from the Clark family is virtually endless. This video is barely the tip of the iceberg, but hopefully will allow some insight into the magic of recovery and the magic of the Clark family.
When I think about my time on this planet, the first thing I think about is my family. And shortly thereafter is Caron. One of the things that we don't learn in high school, we don't learn in college, these life lessons, is that like everyone's gonna go through something, no matter what.
The spirit of generosity in our family starts with my mom and my dad.
I always say, you know, they gave us everything we could have ever wanted and more. I always felt very lucky for that.
And they've just instilled in me such an unbelievable moral compass. All of us kids had a good sense of how to live and how to treat people.
I grew up in a farm community in southern New Jersey. My father drove a truck for South Jersey Gas. My mother was a nurse.
I was born in Philadelphia, and my parents moved probably when I was 6 to Summit, New Jersey. When I was 9, I went away to Girl Scout camp, and I came back. They had gotten divorced, so if you ask Doug, he'll say I had a lot of baggage when he met me.
In Elmer, New Jersey, we lived a pretty sheltered life. When I went to the University of Miami, that's where I really learned that there's a whole different world out there of different people.
After college, I moved to Philadelphia. That's when I met Doug. One night, I met a guy. He had a friend that had just broken up with a long-term relationship, and he needed a date for the Phillies. He told me that he looked like Robert Redford. So I said, I'm all in, sure. And then he drove his Corvette right up on the sidewalk at 18th and Spruce, where I lived.
My friend called BJ and said, well, what'd you think? And she said to him, Robert Redford never, howdy doody maybe. After I heard that, I said, I guess this one's going nowhere.
We had a lot of fun, and we still do have fun.
For me, as a kid growing up in the small town of Haddonfield, New Jersey, I never wanted for anything.
The town we grew up in is really, really close-knit.
Very fond memories of growing up, playing sports, stopping at the drive-thru, picking up the cheeseburger. I had nothing to complain about. There's no reason that I should have ended up where I ended up.
In Haddonfield, everybody rode bikes and stashed alcohol and beer and bushes.
Every weekend was who's going to the liquor store and whose parents are going away. I never saw any of that as a problem because it was just like what you did.
I did think that Zach was a party boy.
You know, I grew up in the same household. I went to the same school, and I couldn't figure out why he couldn't replicate what I was doing, which was, you know, having fun, but having fun in a way that wasn't gonna take a really bad turn.
He was a college pitcher, and he threw out his arm in a tryout. And their first stop from the mound was the bar. When he left the bar, the party continued.
I remember going up to my room and finding these little like pipe things. That really scared me.
He started to drift from the family. I think we were in shock. Our other children were in shock, and it was very sad.
As a college student, I was a pretty wild guy, and I did my fair amount of drinking. I always felt that people that were addicted and couldn't decide to stop were weak. Somebody said he's an alcoholic, I'd say, well, why doesn't he just fix it?
We would look to my dad to be like, why aren't you doing anything? And he would always kind of say, I got it, like I got a handle on it. And I think a lot of it had to do with him at that point and all of us not knowing truly what addiction was.
I remember my wife and my other son saying that Jack was using in the house, and we had our grandchildren there. And I still didn't totally accept what was going on.
Knowing that there was no way Zach was going to get better if we collectively couldn't even get on the same page about what the right path was to get him, help. It was just a very stressful time and a very, at times, very hopeless feeling.
I didn't know this person because he wasn't Zach. It wasn't Zach. It was somebody that was lying and somebody that was under the influence, and it almost ripped the whole family apart.
I was at the end of the road, using heroin, smoking crack, drinking around the clock. Really touch and go. It was a day in late August, and I went on a run. Really, that run was probably gonna end up one of three ways. I was gonna end up arrested, I was gonna end up dead, or I was gonna end up sober. And I got arrested. That happened.
So we went to the Pennsauken police station. I said, is Zach here? They said, no, we let him go. He just walked out of here.
I had slept on the streets the night before. I had broken into my dad's office and I had taken one of his checks. And so I walked into a PNC bank on a Saturday morning with that check in hand. I have two drug dealers waiting outside for me to come out with the money so that we can go do some business. So this bank teller knew something was wrong with me, and she picked up the phone and she called my dad. My dad does not work on weekends. He does not answer blocked phone calls. He should not have been there. What happened next is truly divine.
I picked it up, and it was a lady at the Camden Bank saying, I got your son here, he's trying to cash a check, but it looks funny to me. I said, can you hold him? She said, I'll try. I went as fast as I could, went into the bank, and there he was standing there. I looked at him, he looked at me, and I said, son, it's time to go home. It's time. On Monday, we took him up to Caron.
It was my moment of clarity. It was my moment of rebirth.
We feel so fortunate because we have our son.
So much of his life prior to that was searching for the next high, and now Zach's focus shifted to building these relationships that had really disintegrated over time.
It's evolved from that big brother to, he's my best friend. That relationship I wouldn't trade for anything in the world.
My recovery has impacted my siblings because they have me. For a little while there, I don't think they thought they would have a brother. Alive or dead, I was not a part of their lives because I wasn't able to be. I wouldn't be here without my siblings, I can say that. We know recovery is at the center of this whole thing.
Caron changed my life, not only my son's life. I think it can do that for other folks too.
So many people are weighed down by the stigmas of addiction, and with our family it was understanding and getting educated on the fact that this is a disease, this is not something you chose to have.
Every Sunday I would go to Caron and listen to Father Bill. And that's what changed my life, because it also changed my whole opinion about why can't the guy just do it himself? I think people have to be aware of Caron and the good work that they can do to open your eyes to this thing.
Given the impact that Caron had on my family's life, I felt indebted for life.
The awareness part is huge when it comes to supporting Caron, and then also just getting people help so there can be more Zachs in the world.
Caron has a special sauce. I don't know if it was the people, I don't know if it was the spirit of Dick and Catherine Caron, but I had something else working with me when I was out there for 4.5 months, and that stays with me today.
To see him today, he's just
He's amazing.
The way he not only, tackled the challenges that were in front of him, but just, how he lives his life with such energy and such passion and such a zest for life. He's my hero.
When I really take a moment and think about being 27 years old, hopeless, desperate, 10 years later, here I am. To fast forward and think that, we're being honored by an organization that saved my life, it's nothing but gratitude. My family, my job, the things that I have going for me in my life, it's next level.
Come on, 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 come on. Where are we going to put him? I'm going to present you the award, so I'm going to present you the award, so just hang in there, baby. I love you. Look at you, sweetheart. Oh, my God.
Oh my God, what do we have?
Keep moving on. Let me go this way.
We're not only live here, we got about 200 people watching virtually, and I don't know how many people are watching on Zach's Instagram. So thank you all, everybody, for being part of this tonight. The Richard J. Caron Award of Excellence is the highest award that Caron offers, and it's a tribute to individuals and families who model and do the work that Dick Caron started so many years ago, over 60 years ago. Dick Caron's dedication to recovery, his passion for helping others, and his generosity of spirit. Doug, Zach, Matt, Catherine, the whole Clark family. You've touched so many lives, and you've touched so many lives here tonight, but you have no idea the lives that are going to be touched by your story and the transformation of recovery. So it is my great honor to give you the Richard J. Caron Award of Excellence.
Well, I don't think I can add much to what's already been said. It's been so wonderful words that have been spoken tonight. But I will say this. As everybody knows, I am a farm boy, so take that into consideration as you listen to me. But I'm up here thinking and proud and humbled by the fact that Caron and all the people that are in this room that we don't know are here tonight to honor us, and we're really humbled and proud about that. I'm also very humbled and proud about my family, my wonderful family, every one of them. They're beautiful people. Their wives and their husbands are really as beautiful as the regular family. And the third, like I said, I'm just a country boy, so help me out here. It's okay. And the third group, and before I talk about the third group, there's been a lot said about Neil tonight. And the third group lost, I think, a person that was impactful on our lives that Neil was on many of the people's lives here. His wife is here tonight supporting us, and his name was Mike Dunn. And he was a great friend of mine throughout many years and got me through the tough times and the good times. And so he's a special person to the Clark family community and the Clark family. But the Clark group that's in this 10 or 12 tables here are really, excuse me?
13, I think.
Oh, 13, I don't know. They are folks that have been with us, they're friends, they're business peers. A lot of them are from the truck transportation industry. And I almost had this feeling in my heart that maybe them being here, experiencing what they might have experienced tonight, that maybe the seed was planted for the truck transportation to really maybe move forward and create some avenues of recovery for the folks that keep America moving. And that's the truck drivers and the mechanics. And so maybe that seed may have been planted today. So that's the humbleness and the pride we have in standing up here together as a family. And all I would like to say to everybody in this room, thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
I think all the thank yous have been said. I just want to thank Justin and his family, who have been Zach's other family when I haven't been around. When I was in Florida, Bonnie would cook special meals for Zach, and I love you. I love the whole family, and that's my final thank you. Anybody else? Good. I think we're going to party, right? Yeah, we're going to party. Okay.
Don't leave, we're dancing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're winding down here, and we're getting locked and loaded for the musical portion of the festivities tonight. And it was talked about earlier that well, if you don't know, Justin and I are the founders of Release Recovery, and then most recently with our third partner, Matt, who's down here, we're founding board members of the Release Recovery Foundation. And as was mentioned earlier, we recently started a fund in conjunction with Caron to honor Nick Pagano, who was one of our clients at Release, and he had a deep and profound effect on us. And I think for me and Justin, we would just like to thank Rich and Caron for allowing us to use Nick's name and carry out his legacy. So Rich is going to come up here in a minute. Justin's going to say a few words about Nick and what he meant to us, and then we're going to hear from Rich and then rock and roll time.
Thanks, Zach. So we had humbly asked Rich and the FabFo to join this evening many months ago, and they graciously accepted. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, a couple months after that, we unfortunately lost Nick. And Rich called to give me the news, and selfishly, I had the thought that the FabFo was going to be forced to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances, yet Rich's passion and understanding for recovery only drove his need to be here tonight as a proud supporter of recovery, as a proud supporter of Caron. And so when we developed this fund for the LGBTQ community, we were honored to name it after Nick with his parents' permission. So we'd like to present Rich right now, the drummer for the musical event for this evening. Rich, thank you.
brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. I just want to say, before I say a few things about my wife Caron and my son Nicholas, and some circumstances surrounding his life in the last year or so, that fentanyl is taking down a whole generation. Our politicians need to know. I'll save the rest of that topic for another night. I just wanted to put that out there. So, August 1978, I was 16, starting to play in clubs on Long Island as a drummer and trying to figure it all out. Being that young, I was told to stay away from the bar. From my vantage point, some in the band would get very high or drunk, and a few times I witnessed them getting fired for playing badly. I didn't want to get fired. I was the new guy living the dream. Self-control. Why was that so difficult? I had a lot to learn. October 2014, Nick, our 14-year-old, at the time only child, who was handsome, popular, with a passion for the performing arts, and diagnosed with a level of anxiety, started smoking pot. Caron, my wife, and a fiercely dedicated mother, firmly told him that he was too young to smoke anything and that weed would permanently affect his brain. Of course, I gave him my speech on self-control and how not to sabotage his life. Well, consequences were put in place. Not having money for movies or Taco Bell with friends should solve this. It did not. Cutting classes and after-school activities began. At home, Nick isn't getting out of bed. Ransacking of his bedroom yields pills and a new level of anger and polarization between us. We hope that this was only a stage that could be fixed through weekly therapy for Nick and parent therapy for us. It wasn't. August 2018. Heroin enters. Nick must leave for inpatient treatment, and Caron and I need to get educated. For the next 3 years, we immersed ourselves in parent groups, family weekend at treatment centers or sober houses, understanding our own triggers, plus reading everything we could about the disease of addiction. Our compassion and empathy blossomed while our son journeyed through years of detox, inpatient treatment, multiple sober houses, and short stints of homelessness. How wrong I was to think that his initial actions were merely a case of lack of self-control. It was an awakening on many levels. It was a disease. January 2021. Nick had now fully accepted that he has the disease of addiction. Tiring of the dark and lonely cycle, he started to manage his triggers and impulses. Add to this Caron and my education on love with boundaries, plus only supporting treatment when a relapse occurs. Nick begins a new level of responsibility in recovery. April 2021, 4 months sober, and in an outpatient program that inspired him. He got his high school GED, a part-time job. He joined a sober fellowship, and living in a sober house with likable and a colorful mix of young men, Nick was finally moving into a normal life. June 2021. At 6 months sober, Nick's IOP team is impressed with his knowledge of the 12 steps and articulation of recovery and its process. He is empowered by becoming an unofficial junior tech, given the responsibility of helping new recovering clients feel comfortable as they start treatment.
By the way, some of these newcomers were from the LGBTQ community. When we met for lunch this past spring, Nick, who was gay, would talk about his compassion for the rights of the transgender community and suggested a possibility of furthering his career as an advocate for LGBTQ rights and fairness. We were very proud. The light was shining. July 2021. Nick appeared to be having a compromised mental health week. Sadly, he surrendered to his demons. He copped and brought the drugs back to his sober house bedroom to use alone. He died peacefully and in his sleep on July 2nd. Fentanyl-laced heroin as the culprit. We are shattered. September 2021, Todd Whitmer, Zach Clark, and Justin Gerlin had confirmed our band, the Fab Four. This was long before Nick's death. Nick left a lasting impression on some while twice at Caron, with his fearlessness in talking in front of groups and initiating topical conversation. Later, as a client at Release Recovery, he became especially close with Justin and appreciated his mature point of view. And Nick recently told Caron and I that he wished he'd never left Release. We are honored that Release Recovery and Caron Treatment Centers have created the Nick Pagano Scholarship Fund to expand access care for the LGBTQIA+ community. I was recently informed that overdoses within the gay community are almost 30% higher than in their heterosexual equivalent. Of course, the idea of creating treatment scholarships for those without the financial means is paramount. Yet equally important is an environment of unconditional acceptance and the need for heightened relevance in treatment for adolescents and young adults. To the LGBTQIA+ community, if you feel that an entity of recovery for people who are just like you in mind, body, and spirit does not exist, tonight, through our son's name, it now exists. Thank you.
Okay, without further ado, live from right here in New York City, the Fab Four.